Today, we're going to compare a couple of the modern rectifier amps available from Mesa Boogie. Hopefully this will help you decide which one might be the right amp for you. What's up, guitar nerds? Welcome back to the lab. Today we are going to check out the Mesa Boogie 90's Dual Rectifier. This is their new reissue. And we are going to check out the Badlander 50 from Mesa Boogie. These are two of my favorite Mesa Boogie amplifiers. We've got all the Mesas out right now. We're working on a amp clone pack. We're doing it for NAMM, Neural DSP, Tone X, Head Rush, Kemper, and the Kempers will be Mark IIs. We'll have the pack available for most platforms, so that's coming out pretty soon. Excited about that one. And we've got all the Mesas out for one big pack. It's going to include the 90's Dual Rectifier. It's going to have my Rev F Dual Rectifier. It's going to have the modern Dual Rectifier, the Triple Rectifier. We've got a Mark II C+. We've got a Mark IV. I've got a King Snake and various cabs. Got oversized 212s, various different speakers, mostly vintage 30s, but it's going to be a really cool pack. And besides being two of my favorite Mesa amps right now, I wanted to focus on two rectifiers that you could actually buy today. You could order either one of these. You can find them online. In fact, if you are going to buy one of these today, please use the affiliate links below. It really does help out the channel. Doesn't cost you any extra money. Zounds is one of my favorite places to make big purchases. We're all broke musicians, and Zounds lets you split up those payments with no interest, no credit checks, and no ding on your credit. Super easy. I've been using Zounds for that for quite some time. So I think what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and do some close-up inspection of each of these amps. We'll do the front panel, back panel, show you all the features, explain some of the cool stuff about each of these amplifiers. And then I've got a song I've been working on for sync this week. And I think to compare the tones, what we'll do is we'll just reamp some of the tracks from that song through each of these amps. Now, on the 90's Dual Rectifier, we will hit the green, the orange, and the red channels. We'll hit the tube and the solid-state rectifier. We'll check out the vintage modern switch on the back and explain those. So you'll get a good idea of all of the sounds available from the 90's Dual Rectifier, except for we will not be using the spongy power setting. Everything will be on bold power, just because the song we're working on won't sound good with spongy power. So let's not waste our time. The Badlander will do the clean, crunch, and crush. And then another really cool feature on the Badlander 50 is that they have a built-in IR loader. So you can actually they come with some stock Mesa IRs built into them, but you can plug this thing in USB and load up any of your IRs into this and assign them to positions on a couple of knobs in the back, which I'll show you here in a minute. So we're going to check that out as well. I do have a Mesa Oversized with vintage 30s in the big room that we'll be running both of these through. But for the Badlander, we're going to check out the IR. We'll use my IR of the cab that's actually set up right now. It's not I didn't shoot the cab how it's set up and mic'd right now, but pretty close. I've got a pretty standard method for miking up that cab. So we're using an older IR shop, but they should be pretty close. But then we will check out the IR functionality of this, because you can plug directly into your DAW with this, bypass the speaker cab. This does have an internal load, so you don't need to plug the speaker in. And I don't know if it's a reactive load or not. I'd have to look up the specs on these. So if someone knows if these are a reactive load, drop it in the comments. I don't think they are. And then we will compare their IR loader to the real cab we've got mic'd up, and we'll compare their built-in load to another load box. I've got one. I don't know what I've got out right now. Okay, maybe I don't have one out, but we'll either use the Fractal reactive load box or like the 2 Notes Captor X, or maybe a Sir. Whichever one I find first, that's what we'll use. We'll compare the built-in load and IR of the Badlander to one of the boxes that we've got available around here. Then at the end of this, maybe you'll have a pretty good idea if one of these amps might be right for you. And I love doing these comparisons in a song, in a mix. That's what's important when to me, that's what's important when you're demoing an amp, right? Just sitting down and jamming through the amp in your room doesn't actually tell you a whole lot about if it's going to work well for you in a live setting or in the studio. I've been doing this a long time. I can sit down in a room with an amp and I know pretty well what is going to sound mic'd up and in a mix. Or if maybe all you're ever going to do is sit in your room and play your dual rectifier, and that's freaking awesome. And if that's what you want to do, so we're not just going to jam these in the room. Not that that's what you would hear anyway. You're still going to hear the recorded sound. So, that's one of my main arguments with, amp in the room. No one cares about the amp in the room. No one hears the amp in the room except for you in your bedroom. On the recording, it's mic'd up. In demos, it's mic'd up. Live, it is mic'd up. Everyone is hearing the mic'd up tone of your amplifier. So we're going to compare the mic'd up tone of these amplifiers, and we are going to do it in a mix because that's what's important. How well is it going to sit in a mix? Is it going to sound good for my purposes? And then I'm hoping by the end of this, you'll have a pretty good idea what the Badlander 50 sounds like, and if you like it, or maybe you like some of the features built into this, like the IR loader and the built-in load, or maybe you're a dual rectifier guy. There is a huge price difference between these, of course. So let's find out. Maybe the Badlander's for you. Maybe the dual rectifier's for you. So let's get to it. All right, so let's start with the Mesa Engineering Badlander 50 rectifier. As you can see, front panel, we have got the bold setting or the Variac setting or off, then just your standby switch here, and then our 50 watt or 20 watt switch. That's another interesting feature here, depending on, your use, like what your use case is. You can make this a little bit quieter. It changes the sound a little bit. I wouldn't count on this being like, it's not a power break or something. The difference between 20 watts and 50 watts is not a lot. Now we've got two channels. We've got channel 1 is the top, the green channel. Channel 2, red channel, is the bottom channel. And each channel has a master, a presence. So channel 1 master, channel 2 master, master, presence, bass, mid, treble, and gain. And then they have 3 different modes. Each channel has a clean in the top position, a crunch in the middle, and a crush in the bottom. And then you can flip the on and off. So if you're not using the foot switch, this is channel 1, that's channel 2. In the middle is using the foot switch. And then you have the same options for channel 2. We will start with the bias switch here. It's going to be biased for EL34s or 6L6s. Then you've got your effects send and return here. And then we have this cab clone IR. So this is the load and IR loader. So you can also plug headphones into this. Here's the USB jack, so you can load your own custom IRs onto this. There's a ground lift, which you never know when you need that. When you do, they're a lifesaver. And then you've got the output level for that as well. And then XLR, you can go direct to your interface or direct to front of house, whatever it is you're doing. And then you've got 2 different channels here that you can select the cabs on, and there are 8 different selections on each channel. And I'll show you when you plug in the head to your computer, there's just a folder, simple folder structure, and there's a channel 1 folder, and then inside of that there are 8 folders. So this is channel 1. We would just drop the IR we want to use into the number 1 folder, number 2, number 3, number 4. So you can specify which IR is which of those 8 settings on the knob. And then just the same thing for channel 2. And then last but not least, we just got the speaker outputs. You've got 4 ohm, 4 ohm, and 8 ohm. And that about sums that one up. Okay, now on to the 90's Dual Rectifier. What we've got here is we've got bold power up, bungee power down. You've got your effects loop master here. Then you've got 2 rows of controls for each channel. This first row, which we'll just call channel 1, you can switch on the back of the amp whether it's clean or whether it's the orange channel. So basically, you can just turn on clean for this top row if you so wish. You flip a switch on the back, whether you're using the clean or if you're using the orange. And then the bottom row here is the red channel. Very similar to the Badlander 50, you've got master, presence, bass, mid, treble, and gain. So pretty self-explanatory. Let's flip this around and check out what options we have on the back panel. Okay, then on the back panel, first we have our channel select switch right here. And this is, if you're not using the foot switch, then up is the orange channel and down is the red channel. If you have the foot switch plugged in, the foot switch will switch between them. And then right here on our orange channel gain, like I was showing you on the front, you can switch it to the green channel, which is clean. So this is the orange channel, which is high gain, but you can switch that to a clean rhythm channel by flipping this switch. Then down here, we've got where you can switch the kind of the modes of each of these channels. So this is a new thing they've got where if you flip this all the way left, that puts your orange channel into what they're calling modern mode. And then in the middle is just normal operation. And then all the way to the right is switching the red channel to vintage mode. And we'll see what these sound like. I really like the modern orange. And then we've got some external channel switching and loop switching here. You got 1 16 ohm, 2 8 ohms, and 2 4 ohms. And then you have a slave with a level control. And then we have a loop select. And that's what's also switchable through the foot switch. And you've got bypass the loop, loop on orange and red. And then you've got orange auto, red auto, and external switch. Really cool, usable effects loop. And then you've got the effects loop send level here and your send and return. And then this also can be biased for 6L6 or EL34s, and we've got 6L6s in this one. And then last but not least, we have our vacuum tube rectifier, or we can switch this over to the silicone diode, the solid state rectifier. Now, just before we get started, I'm going to do the obligatory, hey, please like and subscribe. A large majority of you guys that watch these videos aren't subscribed, and as annoying as it is for me to ask you, it really does make a big difference and help out the channel. So subscribe now. Okay, so I've pulled up these scratch tracks for a song idea I've been working on, and I've reamped the scratch guitars through the rectifiers, both the Badlander and the Dual Rectifier, at their different settings. So that we can hear what these amps sound like with other instruments. Now I've gone ahead and I've automated some mutes. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let the song play through, and we'll let the automation mute and unmute different pairs of the different amps at their different settings. And while we're listening, I will pop up on the screen, the name of the amplifier and the settings that it has been recorded at. So we can just listen through, let these amps switch out, and you can just see on the screen what you're listening to. That way we can do it with no interruptions, and you can really just listen and try to get a feel for what these sound like. There's also a placeholder solo. Don't make too much fun of it, but I reamped that as well. That went into a JHS Violet pedal into the Dual Rectifier on the modern orange channel. And then we used a Walrus Audio etherealizer just to add a little bit of space to that. I did that just as a send from the DAW after the fact. Now, these were all tracked using my Mesa Oversized cab loaded with vintage 30s into SM57 and a Beyerdynamic M160. I really like 160s on Mesa Boogies, especially the rectifiers. It really brings out the snarl the amps have, in my opinion. And then we used the Harrison 32C preamps. Now, there are links to all of this stuff in the video description, so go check it out if you're interested. The other thing we did is there is a track using the built-in IR loader of the Badlander and the same IR using the Pulse IR loader in the DAW, just for comparison. And that's one of the things that makes the Badlander such a versatile amp, and it's just completely underrated in my opinion, and it's a shame they're phasing it out. So if you're interested in one, definitely go check one out. I think they're great amps. Okay, that about wraps it up for today. Please drop notes in the comments. Which amp did you like better and why? Or do you already own one of these? I think for me, they both sound amazing. The Badlander with the built-in IR loader is really cool. Mesa is phasing out the Badlander 50s, so you might want to hurry if you're looking to buy one new. They are still available, I mean, all over the place. So you can buy one brand new, and then the used market should be good to go for quite a while, but that is something to keep in mind. But I do love that feature, especially if you're, doing home recording. That built-in IR loader is cool. And then it's great for shows where you're doing a silent stage, or even if you're not doing a silent stage, keeping stage volume down is great. You can still crank this thing and send that IR out to front of house. So very cool options there. And it does have a great sound, and it's pretty flexible. You've got the 2 channels. It's foot switchable. It's a great option. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with the Dual Rectifier, and I will tell you right now, the 90's Dual Rectifier has actually become my favorite Dual Rectifier. The string clarity, the upper mids, the tighter bottom end of that new 90's Dual Rectifier has won me over, and that's going to become a go-to even over the Rev F. They're just a great amp. I mean, Mesa did a great job on this reissue. So they're both really cool. And of course, the Dual Rectifier is just so versatile with all the foot switching options, the effects loop options, and the new vintage modern switch in the back. It's just a really cool amp. Mesa did a great job on that amp. So buy one or both. Keep an eye out for our Mesa amp clone pack that's coming out soon, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.